Hi guys, thank you for tuning in to another edition of the MMA Savant. I'm your host, and today I'll be breaking down the UFC on Fox 17 card going to be held in Orlando, Florida this upcoming Saturday night. The card will be headlined by Donald Cowboy Cerrone taking on the current champ, Rafael dos Anjos, for the 155-pound lightweight strap. It will be co-headlined by Junior Dos Santos is taking on Alistair Overeem in a long overdue match of who's the king of the heavyweight division as far as contenders go. Um, the third fight on the card down is the returning Nathan Diaz after quite a long layoff and a bit of inactivity the last couple of years. Is fighting Michael the Menace Johnson, okay, a streaking top tenner who, besides a loss, if you will, to Beneil Dariush. Most people think he won that fight, and so do I. He's done very well as of late. We also have a women's fight, strawweight division, with Randa Marcos is taking on UFC promotional newcomer Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I probably butchered her name, but you know, welcome to the UFC. Now, the preliminary card is going to be headlined by Charles Do Bronx Oliveira taking on Miles Fury Jury in his first fight in the featherweight division. But before we do that, I want to give a very special, uh, you know, welcome back to Tamden the Barncat McCrory. Tamden was in the UFC way back, and he had some wins, had some losses, but he was cut from the UFC. Took a long hiatus from mixed martial arts, did some family stuff, came back to professional fighting. He goes to Bellator. He finishes Brennan War with strikes, knocks him out cold. Beautiful, clean, crisp strikes, walk away KO. And then he submits Jason Butcher in the first round with an armbar. So he's a very fun welcome back. We love the Barn Cat. Tamden McCrory is back in the UFC, and he'll be facing Josh Saman. Okay, now without any further ado, let's get into it. So the main fight of the preliminary card is, like I said, Charles Oliveira, aka Do Bronx, taking on Miles Jury Fury. Charles Oliveira is the kind of grappler and the kind of fighter that nerds like myself who love jiu-jitsu and stuff love to see. He's thrown up submissions, and he was 2014 Submission of the Year winner with that guillotine, Peruvian necktie, anaconda, whatever you call that thing, choke over Hatsuhioki. It was a thing of beauty. Um, anyway, Miles Jury is also a black belt, and he is dropping down from 55 to 45. I don't know why. He's a tall guy. He's a big, he's not really too small for the division. And his only loss is to current contender Donald Cerrone by decision. So he's a fantastic fighter, and he is not one to be taken lightly. But I think Oliveira's black belt, even though he does have a submission loss to Jim Miller, is a little bit higher caliber than is Miles Jury. Um, Charles Oliveira's last loss was that fight to Max Holloway where he had a micro tear in his esophagus, and it was kind of a freak thing, but it is a loss nonetheless. He took Frankie Edgar to decision. He's a fun submission machine. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next fight. This one I want to kind of breeze through. You have two women with 7 fights each. Uh, Karolina Kowalkiewicz is a Pole. She's from Poland. She's got a Gracie Barra out there. She's undefeated, but she's making her debut, so we'll see how that goes. She's facing Randa Marcos, the Iranian, by way of Canada. Um, she's 5-2 in her professional fight career. She is not making her debut, so octagon jitters won't be a factor for her. So with that, I don't really know too much about these two young ladies. Okay, you have Michael the Menace Johnson taking on Nathan Diaz of the Stockton Diazes. Um, Michael Johnson is a longtime Black Zillion standout. I call him Little Rashad. He's a talented guy. He's got a lot of pressure. He does have quite a few submission losses and everything. Um, he's a good wrestler, junior college, highly ranked wrestler. I don't want to misquote him or misspeak about that. He brings a lot of pressure. His last loss was to Beneil Dariush, who I had to win going into that fight. But after seeing the fight, I would have given it to Michael Johnson. I think it was a robbery, as a lot of people probably do also. Now he's fighting Nate Diaz, um, who's of course Nick Diaz's younger brother. He's a Cesar Gracie black belt, and he's got fantastic boxing with Richard Perez. Cardio will never be a factor for Nathan Diaz. Um, he knows how to bring it. He's aggressive, and he's the kind of fighter that I think all fighters should be. He doesn't point fight. He doesn't hold guys down with strength and just wear them out with being a blanket. He uses his technique and his beautiful skill set to get finishes. Um, he is coming off quite a bit of a layoff. His last fight was a decision loss to the current champion, RDA. Before that, so in the last like 2 years, he's only fought once. And he came in heavy for that fight, which is very uncharacteristic of him. Uh, so, without any further ado, we're going to keep it going. You have Junior Sagano dos Santos, who's fighting out of Brazilian American Top Team now. His only loss in the UFC is to Cain Velasquez. He does have a win over him, but he's got losses which are more telling, if you will, to Cain Velasquez. Um, he he's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Doesn't really show it very often. I don't know how highly ranked it is, if that makes sense. But it won't be an issue here. He's got great takedown defense. He's got all things going for him. A lot of wins. He even has a knockout win over the current champion, Fabricio Verdum. But he's taking on number 9 ranked Alistair Overeem. And Alistair Overeem, if not for nothing, has a lot of cage experience. And he's a K1 champion, Glory champion, Dream, and a lot of belts and everything. He does hold a 3-inch reach advantage over JDS. But his last fights, he's won a few over Struve and Mir and Roy Nelson. But he rests on his laurels too much. And when he thinks he has a fight in the bag, he coasts and he gets caught by guys. That's what happened with Travis Brown and Bigfoot Silva. And Ben Rothwell just got the upset on that one and knocked him out. And it was a thing of beauty. So I believe this fight is long overdue. It should have happened 2 years ago or more, and it was supposed to, but things fell out and people failed drug tests and everything. So we're gonna keep it moving here for the Rafael dos Anjos and Donald Cowboy Cerrone fight. Um, you know, Rafael dos Anjos has a win over Cerrone by decision. He is the champion. He fights out of King's MMA. He's over there with Fabricio Verdum, Master Rafael Cordero, and all those guys over there. Cardio and everything for this guy won't be an issue. He's a high pressure fighter. He's a third-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. So his ground game will not be lacking. But he's facing fan favorite Donald Cowboy Cerrone in a long deserving, about damn time title shot. He's on an 8-0. He's on a 8-fight win streak. With wins over Adriano Martins, Miles Jury, Benson Henderson, his last fight. I can't think of the other guy right now, but he is on an 8-fight win streak. And so I'm going to start giving my predictions right now. So I'm going to do this. Turn this here. Okay, so from the bottom, purple shows better. It's a little bit darker. So on this one here, I'm going to go with what is most likely the underdog, but because I love submissions and everything, and it's he's used to making the weight cut. I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira by submission. Second half of the first round. So sub. I'll just say it. Yeah, and okay, so we're going to move on to the next one. Randa Marcos and Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I'm going to give it to that undefeated fighter, only because I have no reason to pick against her or whatever, and she seems like a fun addition. Okay, moving on to this one here, we have Nathan Diaz taking on Michael Johnson. With all things considered, Michael Johnson will win it by decision. The Diaz brothers' decision don't go their way typically. But I can't pick against Nathan Diaz. Nathan Diaz by submission, guillotine choke. I'm calling him Marcelo Teen, high angle guillotine. First round when Michael Johnson shoots in for a takedown because he doesn't like getting punched in the face by Nathan Diaz. This next one is Junior Dos Santos versus Alistair Overeem. I am calling this one a lock of the night. Place your bets now. You're probably not much of a favorite. I mean, you probably won't make any money off this one. But I'm picking El Cigano, the Gypsy here, to win it. Knockout. First round. No doubt about it. It's a lock. And now we're going to move on to Cowboy Cerrone. He's looking very good. Fresh off a broken jaw over karate expert John McDessie. He's looked fantastic in his last fights. But to beat the champion, you have to finish the champion typically. And RDA's last 3 fights have been the champ Anthony Pettis. I did flash KO over Benson Henderson, and a one-sided beating over Nathan Diaz. It went to decision. A lot of people are picking the fan favorite Cowboy. I got to stick with the champion. I'm picking Rafael Dos Anjos to win it by decision. Okay. And possible upset of the night is, now Michael Johnson is probably the favorite, but most likely upset is Michael Johnson. And for a fun, fan-friendly champion who will fight more than once a year like everybody else, we would love to see Cowboy get it done for the upset. But I'm picking RDA to win it. Okay, guys. This has been this edition of the MMA Savant. Please comment below. Please subscribe if you choose to. And let me know what you like. Let me know what your picks are. And that will wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'm out.